is another youngster who I've talked about plenty because I have a personal attachment to him. I, donated to the Pelotero sequel, which is a documentary highlighting his whole journey from being a J2 signing at 16 all the way through his debut in the majors. I don't even think the sequel was released because I don't think they got enough funding. So maybe I should have given more. But I'm talking, of course, about Miguel Sano. And what's crazy is he's going at half the cost of Nomar Mazara, who we just talked about. And the troubling thing for me with Sano is it's almost as if he thinks his real at-bats are batting practice. Now, no one would ever accuse him of being a disciplined hitter, but his K rate was never this bad in the minors, and it's really starting to become alarming. It was awful in his debut. In 80 games, he produced a 35.5% K rate, and it actually got worse in his second season when it climbed just a 0.5%, but it was at an even 36%. So it actually got worse from his rookie year to his second season. His BABIP isn't horrible. It was at 329, which actually would have tied him for 32nd in the league had he qualified. Incredibly, it was 396 in his 80-game rookie season, which would have led the league had he qualified. So you can't even look at it as like, he's unlucky. It's literally he's swinging at everything and getting fooled considerably. But when he does get a hold of it, it's leaving the park. So it's like I said, it's almost like he's taking these real at-bats as if they're batting practice. I mean, we think of Adam Dunn as the poster child for a boom or bust hitter, and even his career K percentage was only 28.6%. So that just shows you like how free and wild Sano's swinging. I mean, I wish I could say nicer things about him. I love him, but I just don't see him turning it around anytime soon. I hope he does because he was a solid hitter in the minors, not just power-wise. But the problem is the splits have been even. Although his second half batting average, creeped up to 247, that was high, and that's not necessarily what we would consider to be a great hitter. So even though I think he'll likely hit 30 home runs, I can't justify his current draft position.
Yeah, and last year was even worse. This year, and I'll explain why he's somebody that I could maybe take a chance on, where I'm seeing him go, somewhere in the 130 range. Last year, his ADP was in the 60s. It was absurd. And everybody was buying into the big power, as they should. This guy has unbelievable power. There's very few guys that probably, hit for as much power as Sano does. But the two numbers I saw last year, and you brought them up, with a 35.5% K percentage mixed with a 396 BABIP, just screamed regression. Obviously, that happened. Last year was limited to 116 games. As you said, the Ks got worse. 36% K percentage. That's a huge deterrent. But he does do two things really well. Hit home runs, we know that. But he does take walks. And I think that's why the K numbers are so high. Because he swings wildly, but he'll wait in his pitch. So it's funny because he'll still get on base. So if you're in a league that has on base percentage sans batting average, I think Sano's value goes up exponentially because his on base percentage isn't awful. If he can make even a little bit of tweaks, if he can get under 30% and get around that Adam Dunn career number, around 28%, we could see his batting average stabilize a little bit. I think if he could stay healthy, he is an easy 30 home run hitter. He could certainly hit 35 to 40. He's got that kind of pop. Where he hits in the lineup will determine how many RBIs he gets. He's still a risky proposition at 137. It's much better than it was last year, where I didn't own him anywhere. I could see taking a chance on him if you need power. If you went speed heavy early, batting average heavy early, pitching heavy early. In dynasty leagues, I don't dislike him. I've traded for him in a few places because some owners are really down on him because of the batting average and some of the other things. I think the ADP correction was good. Depends, you'll know your league, you'll know who you're in it with. But he's somebody that I'm very on the fence about. I love the power. I love the walk percentage. I really hate the Ks. I hate seeing somebody Ks at 36%, and the fact that it didn't get better after his first season in pro ball. We'll see what happens this year. Like I said, if he can stabilize it a little bit, make a few tweaks, even if it means that his walks go down to 8 or 9%, that's fine. if he's not swinging and missing at 36% rate. That is an absurd number. I can't get over it.
So, in a nod to another podcast, what you're saying is he is effectively wild.
He is effectively wild. I think he's like Dunn in that sense. Dunn took a lot of walks, but I think the guys that have the highest strikeout numbers typically are guys that swing and miss because they really go after their pitch,
right.
And guys that take a lot of walks. He's kind of like Joey Gallo is a prospect that's kind of similar to that. If Gallo's technically not a prospect, but still kind of is. He's another guy. He's more or less Sano coming up. Huge power, huge swing and miss stuff. Can take some walks. So it's 3 outcome hitters.
Yep. Well, the great thing about this, if you want to look for the silver lining, is that this might be a great buy low opportunity in dynasty formats for a guy like Sano if his current owner is getting frustrated and fed up with the K rate, was waiting for something that he hasn't turned out to be yet. So you might want to, go fishing.